सुनने वालों को सिराज ज़ैदी का बहुत बहुत प्यार भरा आदाब, नमस्कार, good afternoon, and you're very welcome to the program. You're listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM, broadcasting from Dundrum Town Centre. Today is the dedicated show, what can I say, for this huge tragedy, tragic loss in the Pahalgaam Valley in Kashmir that took place a couple of days ago in India. And I shall be leaning over to a lot of realities and a lot of facts and things like that. But before that, we have a news. Charmain is here to take the news, and then we will be dwelling into a dedicated program purely on this particular issue of the massacre, the mindless massacre of the Pahalgam region of Kashmir, Kashmir Valley. So sit back and listen to this particular news item. Charmain, you take it away.
Good afternoon. I'm Charmain Colvin, and you are listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM. On India this week, a suspected militant attack in India's Jammu and Kashmir territory on Wednesday has resulted in the deaths of 26 men and more than 17 injured, the worst attack on civilians in India since the 2008 Mumbai shootings. The attack occurred in the town of Pahalgaam, a popular beauty spot in Indian-administered Kashmir in the Himalayas, often described as the Switzerland of India. Gunmen opened fire on unsuspecting tourists. The dead included 25 Indians and one Nepalese national. The attack is viewed as a setback for Prime Minister Modi and Hindu nationalist BJP, who have credited themselves with bringing peace and development to the long-troubled Muslim-majority region. Modi cut short his 2-day visit to Saudi Arabia and returned to Delhi immediately after the attack, which little-known militant group, the Kashmir Resistance, has claimed responsibility for in a social media message. It expressed discontent that more than 85,000 outsiders had been settled in the region, spurring a demographic change. The group claimed that the individuals targeted were not ordinary tourists, rather that they had affiliations to Indian security agencies. They said the attack should serve as a wake-up call not only for Delhi, but also for those who support Delhi's questionable strategies. They also warned they would intensify their strategic attacks to ensure that those involved in undermining the resistance struggle would face appropriate consequences. Indian security agencies say Kashmir Resistance is a front for Pakistan-based militant organisations such as Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hizbul Mujahideen. Pakistan has said it only provides moral and diplomatic support to the insurgency in Kashmir. Following on from US President Donald Trump's announcement for a 90-day pause on most tariff hikes for major trading partners, including India, while sharply increasing levies on Chinese goods, India has recorded a trade deficit of $99.2 billion with China in the 2024-25 fiscal year that ended in March. This was driven by a surge in imports of electronic goods and consumer durables, according to trade data recently released by Commerce Ministry. Last month saw goods imported from China jump over 25% year-on-year to $9.7 billion, led by electronics, electric batteries and solar cells. Total imports from China rose to $113.15 billion in the past fiscal year. By sharp contrast, India's exports to China fell 14.5% to $1.5 billion in March from the previous year, with total exports dropping to $14.3 billion in the 12-month period. Analysts say that this is a wake-up call for India as rising imports reflect deeper structural dependencies of the Indian economy. China emerged as India's second biggest trading partner in 2024-25, with two-way trade of $127.7 billion after the United States. The Indian government plans to set up a monitoring unit to track a surge in cheaper imports from countries like China and warned firms against helping foreign exporters bypass US tariffs. India and the US need to work together successfully for a prosperous and peaceful 21st century, US Vice President J.D. Vance said in a speech calling for closer ties between the countries across sectors. Vance, on a recent 4-day visit to India with his family, also added, "If we fail to work together successfully, the 21st century could be a very dark time for all of humanity." His remarks come after his meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and both countries said they had made progress in negotiating a bilateral trade deal, which Delhi hopes will avoid higher tariffs. India is among a number of countries rushing to negotiate trade deals with the US during President Donald Trump's 90-day pause on higher tariffs, which ends on the 9th of July. India was set to face 27% US tariffs before the pause was announced. Since then, Delhi and Washington have been working towards an early conclusion of trade negotiations. In his speech in Jaipur, Vance said that the two countries had finalised the terms of reference for the negotiation. Despite the warm relationship shared by both leaders, Trump has repeatedly taken aim at India's high tariffs, branding it a tariff king and a big abuser of trade ties. India has already cut tariffs on a number of goods in the past few months and is reportedly considering more wide-ranging cuts to pacify Trump. Sectors like agriculture, however, where Washington wants greater access but India fiercely protects, are still sticking points. Chief Financial Officer of Tesla India said this week that Tesla sees India's 100% import tariffs on cars making customers anxious, and the car maker is still assessing when to enter the very hot market, even as those concerns linger. Tesla has long wanted to sell in the world's third largest car market, but high tariffs, which its chief, Elon Musk, has said are among the steepest in the world, have been a deterrent. Despite this, Tesla has, in recent weeks, finalised some showroom space in India and posted more than 24 jobs, signalling it is getting closer to the launch. Custom records show in March that Tesla imported a Model Y car to India from Germany at a shipment value of $46,000. The same car is 100% more expensive than it is, so people are concerned about paying too much. That is why Tesla is being very careful about when to enter the Indian market, according to Tesla's CFO. Tesla has been lobbying India to lower tariffs on cars, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's officials are in talks with US President Donald Trump's administration to lower the 100% levies under a bilateral trade deal. The US has asked for an elimination of tariffs on cars, but New Delhi is unlikely to bring down taxes to zero immediately, even as it considers further cuts. Any duty cuts that make imported cars cheaper have seen strong opposition from local car makers, such as Tata Motors and Mahindra. Saudi Arabia and India agreed to boost cooperation in supplies of crude and liquefied petroleum gas, according to a joint statement reported by the Saudi state news agency this week, following a visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Saudi is one of the largest exporters of petroleum to India. Modi met with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman before cutting short his visit and returning to New Delhi after a deadly attack on India's Jammu and Kashmir territory. And finally, an 82-year-old woman who teaches the ancient Indian martial art of Kalaripayat says she has no plans to retire. Meenakshi Raghavan is widely thought to be the oldest woman in the world to practice the art form. Kalaripayat, Kalari means battleground and Payat means fight, is believed to have originated at least 3,000 years back in the southern state of Kerala. It is regarded as India's oldest martial art. Meenakshi occasionally performs in other cities, but mainly runs her own Kalari school, founded by her husband in 1950. So that's all from me. You have been listening to India This Week on Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Thank you very much indeed, Charmain. And this is indeed a horrific news, horrendous news, heartbreaking news, emotional news for every Indian, doesn't matter where you're living in India or abroad, a diaspora community and all that. Why I'm dedicating the program today, because the title of my talk today is "The Ghost of 1947 Still hanging around in the bushes of Kashmir Valley. Now, that is what it is in a nutshell, if you think about it, and if you brood over the whole thing, is that this particular attack on a tourist, innocent tourist, Kashmir, particularly the Pahalgaam, which is a very picturesque valley. Many films have been shot there. Tourists have been going there for years and years. My late dad used to go, my family used to go in the holidays because during the summertime is very popular with the tourist, local tourists, those who do the staycation, as we call it, not the rich, super rich who goes to Europe and Switzerland and all the cooler climates and during the summertime, but average Indian, ordinary citizen, the government workers, civil servants, they used to go to. My dad used to go with my older brothers and sisters to take them to the Pahalgam, Kashmir Valley for summer holidays. And this was the typical summer holiday spot where 29 people have been gunned down by the merciless terrorist. That's all they are. They have no religion. And I'll talk about that as well. They're linked with so-called Pakistan, the neighboring country, and of course they have isolated people on the basis of their, religion, and killed men only, not women and children. So it was kind of like an orchestrated, organized crime, organized terrorist crime. So this particular ghost of 1947 that are still looming in the bushes of the Kashmir Valley is something very different. What is this time, what is the difference this time? For the first time in 35 years, Kashmir has observed a complete shutdown. This comes a day after the 26 tourists were massacred in one of the most cold-blooded attacks the valley has witnessed in recent times. Loudspeakers in mosques called for people to join the shutdown, and the spontaneous protest broke out throughout the region. In Pahalgam, the town remains in shock. It will never recover in a jiffy. It will take a long time to recover. Shops are closed and the air is heavy with grief and outrage. Yes, everybody's blood is boiling with the outcome of revenge and all that. Among the 26 killed was Sayyid Adil Hussain Shah, pony rider operator who died trying to shield tourists and confront the attackers. Now, leading Kashmiri newspapers such as Greater Kashmir, Rising Kashmir, Kashmir Uzma, and Taimil Irshad published stark black front page with red, white dots on it. It is indeed heart-wrenching, powerful symbol of mourning and protest. I'm crying here behind the microphone recording this program because my emotions cannot be controlled. With tears, these actions reflects the deeper shift. Militancy is losing its grip over the Kashmiri people. And that is what bothering the militants who had been still hiding in the bushes of Kashmir Valley. This is what I can say. Why Pahalgam? Pahalgam is, as I said earlier on, crucial hub for the Amarnath Yatra as well, one of the Hinduism's holy pilgrimages that takes place. And pilgrims begin their journey at the Amarnath cave temple from here. And the region has seen previous attacks on pilgrimage routes, including the Nawan base camp in 2000 and Chandanwari in 2002. Now, a very important point to note that the killing of Sayyid Ali Hussain Shah, a local hero, Adil Shah, a pony rider, operator at the Basarana Meadows, popularly called Mini Switzerland, died as a hero. A gunfire erupted. Shah reportedly tried to protect the tourist and even attempted to wrestle their weapons from one of the attackers, though not specifically successful. And, he was not a target as such, but he was killed in this crossfire in the act of courageous, actions that he performed. His sacrifice stands as a testament of humanity that endures amidst horror. Now, that is a very. I'm very grateful to someone, our own correspondent Sharad Awasthi, who's got his own way of expressing his own take on this particular horror attack. But I will let you hear first his take as well, and then we will brood over, because I will go back into the background of this and all that. And this is what is happening in the rest of the world as well. So the rest of the world is also, reacting to in a strange way, in a very, very emotional way. Our own delectable actor, Mr. Anupam Kher, who come from Kashmir, who acted in a Kashmir Files, a so-called propaganda film. It was a propaganda film in a way. It was dubbed as that, but he was emotional yesterday when I saw his clip, and he was obviously, and the words he used on his clip was, the words are impotent, are napunsak, shabd are napunsak. Now, how can be a shabd are napunsak? What, obviously, I understood what he wanted to say, that no words are, enough or alive or powerful enough to describe this particular incident. What I'm describing here today is the gruesome tragedy, a mindless attack on innocent people of Kashmir Valley tourists. Innocent tourists, as I said, that this is a very, very popular town for tourists. My late sister celebrated her honeymoon there. I remember it when she shared the pictures of, and it was a tradition for all new couples, and there were quite a few new couples in this massacre as well, that they would go there. And the locals who would rely on the tourist season, so-called, would, lend the dresses to the ladies in Kashmiri attire, and gents in a Kashmiri, the traditional form of the Kashmiri suits and things like that. And ladies would be wearing the jewelries and all that, and would share the pictures. And now these days, of course, selfie and cell phones are here, so everybody would do that straight away. In those days, people used to take cameras, and in the old days, and I'm talking about 70s, 80s, when my late sister went to the Kashmir, and I was excited to know that she's having a great time, and she's having as a honeymoon and all that. So this is what the spot was, and that spot has been was the attack, the target for the attacks. So what a cowardly chosen a target for these guys. But let me hear our regular contributor from London, Sharad Awasthi, who's also put together a detailed clip about this particular massacre. Sharad, you take it away.
Another heinous and senseless act of terror has shaken the conscience of the nation, again serving as a grim reminder of the brutality and inhumanity that terrorism brings. The attack on tourists, people who had come to simply enjoy the natural beauty of Kashmir, the crown jewel of India, is a blatant assault on the values of humanity and the sanctity of life. We unequivocally and strongly condemn this barbaric violence. On this Tuesday afternoon in Pahalgaam, a beautiful place in Kashmir, violence found its place again. 26 innocent lives were extinguished in a matter of minutes by gunmen armed with cold brutality and an agenda buried deep within the complex maze of ideology, politics, and geopolitical ambitions. There was no religion but the humanity that was killed. Among the dead were a naval officer, a tech worker, a local tour guide, international tourist, and Syed Adil Hussain Shah, a Kashmiri Muslim who died trying to protect the very tourist who brought his community its livelihood. The incident has rightfully shaken the conscience of a nation. It's a cruel reminder of horrifying human cost of terrorism, mindless violence unleashed with surgical precision that respects neither faith nor innocence. As we grieve, we must also ask questions. Who owns Kashmir's pain? This isn't the first time Kashmir has been at the epicenter of violence. It has been nearly 8 decades since India and Pakistan were born out of blood-soaked partition of 1947. Yet, Kashmir continues to be an unresolved scar, a disputed paradise, and an eternal battlefield for competing nationalisms. The revocation of Article 370 in 2019, which granted Jammu and Kashmir semi-autonomy, were meant to bring integration and stability. Yet, with these incidents, the ghost of old grievances still wander freely in the valley. What does it say about as nations, as people, when towns like Pahalgaam, built on tourism and spirituality, becomes a war zone once again? Today, the newspaper are printed in black front pages, which should have had the images, the vibrant images of meadows, rivers, and the pine-covered hills. Why has Kashmir never been allowed to be a place just for locals to live in peace, for visitors to explore, or for pilgrims to pray? Why is it always either a jugular vein or a strategic asset in political rhetoric? We are seeing the politicization of grief. The timing of the massacre is no coincidence, as you can see. It occurred during a moment of high diplomatic visibility, coinciding with the visit of US Vice President J.D. Vance. History is repeating itself. We saw a similar tactic during the President Clinton's 2000 visit, if you remember, when 36 Sikhs were killed in Chitinspora, and again in 2002 with Kaluchak massacre. And those who allegedly backed these terrorists know exactly how to play the optic. These are not just attacks. They are a brutal message, written in blood, I would say, aimed to disrupting the dialogue and the diplomacy, and sow the fear where hope had just begun to germinate. So the question we must continue to ask, who is benefiting from this chaos? Is it merely a group of ideological extremists, ingrown insurgencies as people call it, who are operating in isolation? Or is it something more sinister, something state-sponsored as many defense experts claim? If the fingerprints of Pakistan ISI are indeed on this attack, as it has been alleged, then we must revisit not just how terror is funded, but also how global silence on such sponsorship enables this cycle to continue. What is the best method used? Religion. It is a weapon and a casualty on either side of the border. The attackers reportedly asked victims for their names. They determined their religion and then opened fire. This is just not an act of terrorism. It's a hate crime. It is a grotesque perversion of faith where religion is not a path of peace or salvation, but a filter for death. What kind of ideology drives someone to murder in the name of God? And what kind of society produces men who see tourists, people who have come to admire the beauty of the land, as the enemies, as those who should be killed? But before we point fingers across the border, we must also look inwards into India. Religious polarization has been on the rise within India too. Communal tension, mob lynching, and inflammatory political speeches have fed an environment where fear becomes fertile ground. Are we, in India, as a society, unknowingly enabling the very divisions that terrorists are exploiting? This attack is just not to create a terror of humanity. It is an economic strangulation through violence. Kashmir's economy is heavily reliant on tourism. In 2024, the region welcomed over 23 million tourists, about 2.3 crore tourists. That number now stands threatened as fear spread faster than any government reassurance can contain. Hotels are facing cancellations, mass cancellations, and the local vendors, they are now under severe insecurity of economic failures, of losing their livelihood. this terror attack is also an economic war, and the collateral damage is measured in the deserted streets and the deserted schools in times to come. This massacre is not to kill people, it is to starve families. And the families are the same. They belong to the same religion whom the terrorists are trying to protect. Questions must be asked, especially when the ghost of Pulwama and the Uri still remains on the horizon. This isn't the first time the Indian intelligence infrastructure has failed us. This isn't the first time the Indian security lapses have happened. Pulwama in 2019 and Uri in 2016, lessons were meant to be learnt. At the time, by the politicians, promises were made. Yet again, we stand here mourning the dead and questioning the same failures. Accountability is hard to come. There are inquiries, reports, and media cycles. But within week, public memory will fade. Political noise will take over, and slowly but surely, the cycle will reset. The politicians on both sides of the border will start to count their votes on the dead. So, for the call of peace, the Indian government's options are limited but familiar. Condemnation, increased troop deployment, and perhaps a surgical strike. But history tells us that military responses offer at best a temporary relief. It may be popular, but it is not working. What we are lacking is a vision for long-term peace. Can Pahalgaam be the last? Or are we going to keep repeating the same responses and expect different results? It is not the time to reimagine what peace looks like in Kashmir. It has to be beyond nationalism and beyond defense, beyond slogans and beyond election cycles, importantly. So here are our final thoughts. Pahalgaam was more than an attack. It was a test, a brutal audit on the Indian humanity, our politics, our media, we call it as Godi media, and our collective conscience. Do we really come together in outrage, or can we stay united in peace? Can we still remember the innocent lives lost from all walks of life, including that of a local who in his bravery to save lives was killed by the terrorists? Will India and Pakistan ever break this generational curse of rivalry and rediscover the promise of coexistence that the subcontinent once believed in? And finally, will Kashmir always remain a pawn in the game which till date nobody is winning? Until we answer these questions, not with statements but with actions, innocent lives will remain at risk. With those unanswered questions about humanity, politics, religion, and peace in Indian subcontinent, I leave you until next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and dutifully ask questions. Bye for now.
Dublin South FM. You wouldn't buy a car without knowing its history. So why would you buy a story without knowing who's telling it? Come here and I tell you. It's not always easy to verify what you see, read, or hear. But now, there's help. Visit www.bemediasmart.ie. Stop, think, check. Be Media Smart. Brought to you by Media Literacy Ireland, supported by RTE. 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Welcome back to the programme, and that was Sharad Awasthi rightfully and intellectually interpreting the entire episode of this killing, mindless killing, should I call it. Going back to the point of my title of the program today is the ghost of 1947 is still very much hanging around in the bushes of Kashmir valleys. And of course, he referred to the two more recent attacked Pulwama attack. That was also being debated, why and the timing of it. And the Uri, both got made in movies. Movies got made on those two incidents. And of course, the third film will be, somebody already is scripting right now, as we speak in this program, a film on this. So how many films get made? So many get, every incident of Kashmir Valley, Kashmir takes place and a film gets made and funded and gets acted in a very emotional way and all that. So that is what is, it's an interesting way of interpreting the story of Kashmir. Now, I have lined a few tracks of Kashmir because I really like to play the tracks, music. But before that, the films that were shot in Kashmir called Kashmir Ki Kali, the very famous film of Shammi Kapoor and beautiful songs of that, Kashmir Ki Kali. So I'll play all the songs. But before that, I would also like to put my fingers on the pulse of 1947 and indeed the ghost of Kashmir and the valley that has been in the question. So going back to 1947, that's where the problem started. When the British were pulling out from India, they have actually left unfinished business, I call it, just like Belfast, just like Northern Ireland, here in Northern Ireland. They just left this unfinished business of giving majority Muslim population Kashmir in the hands of Indian-administrated Free India. But it was not majority. In fact, it was divided. There was a division happened at the middle of the Kashmir, in the middle of the Kashmir state. Half of that Kashmir went to Pakistan, and there was a buffer zone called the No Man's Land, and free Kashmir, Azad Kashmir as we called it. And that has been governed by the people, local people. Now, why that happened? Because it was haphazard division. Why? Because under the United Nations agreement, when the line was drawn between the boundaries and territories of Kashmir, the line was drawn and it was decided by the United Nations that there will be a plebiscite. Plebiscite means that you will let the people of Kashmir democratically decide where they want to live. Either they want to be part of the Pakistan or they want to be part of India. Now, majority of that plebiscite, by the way, was supposed to be happening, and in the free and independent election should have been happening. But that didn't happen under the patronage and the leadership of Prime Ministership of Mr. Nehru. Pandit Nehru has never actually, somehow or other not agreed or unable to conduct the election. So therefore, the Pakistanis always keep claiming those valleys belonging to them. And of course, we had a war. We had a Kargil war. We have a Kashmir war. We have several wars on that. And indeed, the middle of these wars, we have insurgency, so-called militant insurgency. The people who really never accepted the fact that we are part of the Free India and Republic of India. And they wanted to be, independent. Now, they want to be independent. They don't want to be part of Pakistan, because if you are part of Pakistan, because Pakistan is also trying to claim that Kashmir is us. Of course, half of the Kashmir belongs to Pakistan, and beautiful valleys and all that. But if you go back to the plebiscite, why the plebiscite didn't happen? Had the plebiscite would have happened, the people of Kashmir would have decided where they want to live. Now, obviously, the nation was divided at that time on the basis of religion, Hindu and Muslims. So Hindus will live in India and Muslims will live in Pakistan. But that didn't happen either. Today, the reality of India is there are more Muslims living in India than are in Pakistan in numbers, sheer in numbers. We're talking about at least 20% of the 1.5 billion people. So it's a staggering number of people who belong to India. Now, Indian Muslims always accepted the fact that Kashmir belongs to us. Kashmir is non-negotiable, and there was a lot of saying and lot of couplets, the rhymes and all that, on the basis of the claiming of Kashmir, that Kashmir belongs to us. Now, there's one sect of people called Kashmiri Pandit, and I probably will bring somebody here in the studio soon. The people who belongs to extreme upper caste Hindu called Pandits, and they were being systematically subject for killing and persecution by the militant, so-called the local Kashmiri militant. And on that basis, there is that movie I was referring earlier on, called The Kashmir File. And Anupam Kher is one of the Kashmiri Pandit as well, who suffered that. Perhaps his fathers, his great-grandfathers have suffered this kind of... So it was a isolation, and it was ethnic cleansing to wipe out the Kashmiri Pandits. So they moved to rest of India. They moved to Delhi, they moved to here, there, and everywhere, and then they settled down and thrived in a republic and free India after 1947. What happens in Kashmir is a very, very politically political issue now that J.D. Vance, as Sharad has mentioned, that has been visiting to India. Americans have got to do it. Let me tell you a reality of Kashmir today. Kashmir is now being governed by the foreign troops and certain countries who are not in favor of Pakistan, and I dare not to use the word, but they are, obviously their influence in India is so strong. They're the same people who use the Pegasus. They're the same people. Okay, let's say that's the word. Israel is the country which is now monitoring, militarizing, and also providing, the expertise, the army expertise, the military expertise to the Indian army and all that. Why? Because Pakistan never accepted Israel as a free India, as a free country, because it's an occupied entity. It's not a country. It's not a nation. So Pakistan and Iran are the two nations in the world. Those do not accept Israel as a nation. And therefore, the Israel becomes the enemy of Pakistan and inside with India. So this is an insider information you probably would you would have heard that before. So this is something which is very, very carefully crafted, and previous wars were being fought. Kargil War has been fought, on the border of Kargil. Kargil is obviously part of the Indian Kashmir incident region. So all of that is a political thing. And unless the solution could be found in United Nations, politically, neither India nor Pakistan is capable of governing the solution or finding the solution or coming up with the solution. And innocent life in the middle of it are keep losing their lives. Innocent people will keep dying in vain. So that is something very crucial for us to remember. Obviously, the current regime of our BJP government is not helping in that sense, that Article 370 and 370A has been removed from the Constitution of India. And with proudly, our President, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced that I have removed Article 370 and 370. What was the 370 and 370A? It was a special status given to the Kashmiri people. And there was some restriction on land purchasing. In other words, in order to protect the plantation, and this is exactly what has happened right now, is that plantation is happening, people are buying lands, people are moving in there, and believing that, yes, 370 has been removed and has been widely accepted that, yes, go out there, do your business, set up your businesses, do your holidays, set up all of that, including a number of films have been shot there and to create a tourist attraction, which is deserved to be. But after the removal of that, the people who have never given up this idea of Kashmir, and they are vowing now that they will not give up. Don't think that if you have created the 93, removing the Article 370 from the Constitution and 370A, that you will create a peace there. We will not let peace to exist there, and this is the consequences of that. So strategically, there are agencies, there are people who are supporting this concept and all that. But I would like to say one thing in the closing of this particular topic, because there are obviously other things I need to talk about it. But this particular topic is that please, please, please do not relate that with the religion, a particular religion. Because here is a Muslim guy has been killed as well, Sayyid Adil Hussain Shah, the pony rider, the guy. So because Islam never permits the killing of innocent people, the holy text, Quran, clearly says that whosoever kills an innocent person, it is as if he has killed all of humanity. And that is in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 32. What happened to, in Pahalgaam is deeply tragic, completely against the teaching of Islam and humanity. No religion in the world can actually, condone and would agree to this kind of mindless killing. Everybody strongly condemned this act of violence, and we pray to Almighty that it gives strength and to the family who have suffered, those who have suffered in this heartbreaking incident, the newly married couple who were there to celebrate, to come out to celebrate the honeymoons and all that. And we appeal to the now our governing bodies, i.e. our nation, to immediately take action on this particular thing. Yes, indeed, that is our Prime Minister, and the nation is combined here. The entire India is combined here on that. And Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, has actually said that the action will be taken very, very seriously, and the effect would be. Now, reaction will be taken very seriously. Now, what is the reaction? As Sharad has hinted, perhaps air attack on Pakistan, more innocent life will be lost. You're not taking revenge. Tit for tat, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth makes the world blind. That's what Gandhi used to say that. So what is the solution? The solution is bringing the United Nations, letting them sit in either Delhi or in Jammu and Kashmir with the local Chief Minister Omar Abdullah and the senior expert of Farooq Abdullah, who is still very much alive. Now, Farooq Abdullah is a very interesting character, and his father, Sheikh Abdullah, ruled Kashmir peacefully during the time of independent India and post-independent India, with the majority Kashmiri people behind him. But he was also being ostracized since the BJP government came into power. He's been thrown into house arrest. Omar Abdullah now is in chief minister, and his political party has won the election and is governing it. But that all is going to change now, because it is becoming a political thing. But majority of the people of the Kashmir valleys are the Muslim people. And therefore, because of the removal of Article 370 and 371, allows people to infiltrate from India, legitimately infiltrate, not illegitimately, plantation is the word, to go and live there. So their population will go up. And then if the election happens, then they could be, winning the election. Anyway, that is a deeper politics of that. Kashmir is a very, very thorny subject. There is organizations all over the world fighting for Kashmir. They are run by Pakistani people. Here, even in Dublin, there is a group of people call themselves Azad Kashmir people, independent Kashmir people. They do celebrate gatherings and things like that and talk about it, the brutality of the Indian police, Indian army and all that. Well, that is, yes, this is the case because they want to create a peace there. And the army is one of the largest army. In fact, over 1 million people, Indian army is in the valleys of Kashmir. And there has been some extrajudicial killing, brutality. But that's what was required in order to create a peace, because there is no effort should be spread not to create a peace, because peace is ultimately related to the progress, prosperity, and the responsibility for the local people, who requires some sort of a peaceful existence. Anyway, I would like to take a track from the Kashmir Ki Kali. So sit back and listen to this track. I wouldn't say enjoy, because the nation is in mourning, and we all are sad to feel this particular thing. But the track is very much cheerful track, and Kashmir Ki Kali.
सुभान अल्लाह है हंसी चेहरा है, सुभान अल्लाह हंसी चेहरा, ये मस्ताना अदाएं खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, हर बला से। तुम्हें देखा है तो दिल बोला है, तुम्हें देखा तो दिल बोला कि तुमको दूं दुआएं, खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, हर बला से। न जाने किसकी किस्मत में है मुखड़ा चांद सा ये, न जाने किसके घर चमकेगा टुकड़ा चांद का ये, न जाने किसके घर चमकेगा टुकड़ा चांद का ये। इजाजत हो है तो फिर हम भी है, इजाजत हो तो फिर हम भी मुकद्दर आजमाए, खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, हर बला से। सुभान अल्लाह हंसी चेहरा, ये मस्ताना अदाएं खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, हर बला से। हसरत से तुमको देखता है ये ज़माना, सुनाना चाहता है हर कोई अपना फसाना, सुनाना चाहता है हर कोई अपना फसाना। कोई दिल हो है, कोई महफिल है, कोई दिल हो कोई महफिल, जहाँ भी आप जाएं खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, हर बला से। सुभान अल्लाह हंसी चेहरा, ये मस्ताना अदाएं खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, हर बला से। तुम्हें देखा तो दिल बोला कि तुमको दूं दुआएं, खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, हर बला से।
So that was a Kashmir Ki Kali, and I would like to play another song of Kashmir Ki Kali again, and stay with with this picture, which was beautifully shot in Pahalgaam and the lake and all these places that are synonymous with the beauty of Kashmir. So it was Jammi Kapoor and Sharmila Tagore film.
ये देख के दिल झूमा, ले प्यार ने अंगड़ाई, दीवाना हुआ बादल, सावन की घटा छाई। ये देख के दिल झूमा, ले प्यार ने अंगड़ाई, दीवाना हुआ बादल। ऐसी तो मेरी तकदीर न थी, तुम सा जो कोई महबूब मिले। दिल आज खुशी से पागल है, दिल आज खुशी से पागल है। ऐ जान वफा तुम खूब मिले, ऐ जान वफा तुम खूब मिले। दिल क्यों न बने पागल, क्या तुमने अदा पाई। ये देख के दिल झूमा, ले प्यार ने अंगड़ाई, दीवाना हुआ बादल। बरसों से खिज़ां का मौसम था, बरसों से खिज़ां का मौसम था। वीरान बड़ी दुनिया थी मेरी, वीरान बड़ी दुनिया थी मेरी। हाथों में तेरा आंचल आया के बहार आई। ये देख के दिल झूमा, ले प्यार ने अंगड़ाई,
दीवाना हुआ बादल, सावन की घटा छाई। ये देख के दिल झूमा, ले प्यार ने अंगड़ाई,
दीवाना हुआ बादल, सावन की घटा छाई। ये देख के दिल झूमा, ले प्यार ने अंगड़ाई, दीवाना हुआ बादल।
That was Kashmir Ki Khali, and a beautiful song that was being picturized on a dull lake in Pahalgaam and Kashmir Ki Khali and all that. Beautiful songs are YouTube. Thank you very much indeed for giving us opportunity to look at you and to look at those things that were being preserved at that time. And of course, the art of cinema, which has always allowed the timeless actions and timeless beauties of the place and people. I mean, Sharmila Tagore, look at her in this song, is just unbelievable. And of course, Shami Kapoor, a lively Shami Kapoor, the kind of actions he used to do, free actions and a free movement. He was inspired by, Nasiruddin Shah, a delectable actor, inspired by Shami Kapoor. I like Shami Kapoor very much. You can see the shades of Shami Kapoor in performance of Shah Rukh Khan when they perform songs and things like that. So they are free, creative actors who did everything on the screen when they are, recording songs and playing songs on a screen. But anyway, with all of that, I will leave you another song of Kashmir Ki Khali, and thank you very much for listening. This heart-wrenching program called The Ghost of 1947. I gave you the nutshell. I will visit it again because it's worthy of, I think this story will continue on and on and on. The latest is that Government of India has actually closed down the Atari border, which actually linked India and Pakistan, and the people who, have some sort of a movement with the border, that has been shut down. And the diplomat, which has been almost 55 diplomats in Delhi have been asked to, half of them has been asked to leave and to reduce to bare minimum 30 diplomats and the Pakistan High Commission. So all of that will tighten up, and who knows next step is going to be. I'm sure by next week we will have some more gory details and gory information. Bye for now. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much, Sharad from London, to contribute, and thank you, Charmain, for doing the news, and of course our lead, the technical sound engineering for the show. Bye for now. See you next week, same time, same place. This is your own Apna Radio broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM.
निगाहों में जादू चलाना मेरी जान सीखा है तुमने कहाँ से।